Hello, 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 we're back again, here again. It's Tuesday night, again. My God, where does the week go? Where does it all go? I don't know. Do you know where it goes? I certainly don't. God, I've got a bit of a headache. Oh, I've got a bit of a headache. It's raining as well. We only managed to get to the lamppost and back. We do have some dog cam action. She's just settling down. She's just laying in her bed. And there we go. Just that's what you want, isn't it? Really? No, just me then. Just watch the dog for a bit. Go widescreen or standard. Always turn off the autofocus. Why does the autofocus come on? That's better. Zeb is in, and he exclaims, "First!" Like it's an achievement. You just got here early. Hooray! God, it's all happening on dog cam tonight, isn't it? It's very exciting. Andrew's in. This is evening to you. He says, "I see Jean-Luc Godard, the French Swiss film director." Is like, yeah, he went to like Dignitas or one of those places and had himself put down. He was just tired of being old. He was 91. I'm tired. I wish I could do the same, to be quite honest. But yeah, a bit of a shock to find out that. Let me just turn dog cam off. It's distracting me. I can just look at it. I don't need dog cam. I can just look at it whenever I want. Yeah, it's a bit odd, I guess. I don't know. Is it odd? 91? I mean, crikey, it would have cost him money. He could have saved his money and just waited for nature to take its course, couldn't he, really? But there you go. It's what goes on. Jason's in. This is evening. And he says, "We need more dogs, indeed." Though I've noticed something peculiar. What have you noticed? I'm a big fan of Battersea Dog Zone because that's where we got Hannah. We got Hannah from Battersea, and I don't know if it's come back. But in the old days, you could meet the dogs on their website, and it's gone now. You can no longer look at the dogs on Battersea website. Now, I don't know if it's to do with the Queen dying, but I used to enjoy looking at the dogs. I'll have to go to the RSPCA website or Dogs Trust instead. But yeah, what's that all about? What's going on there? I like to look at the dogs. More dogs. It's very quiet tonight, isn't it? It's very quiet. This is me, Andrew, and Jason. Is this it? Is that it? It's going to be a quiet one. Fasano's in. He says, "How goes it?" It is going slow. It's going very slow. I mean, it's very, very quiet. Beyonce says, "Evening. Queen's been driving by your street today, or are you at the opposite end of London?" Well, I'm not in London at all. So I'm in Essex. So no, not in my neck of the woods. So no, I can't wave to her as she's going past. Where's Munton? I don't know. Richard Prano says, "How's life been treating you?" I have no idea. I just wake up every morning and that's it. It's still happening. So I haven't got much to report really. It's all been pretty quiet. The kids been back at school for the last week and settling in with that, getting good reports and things, and nothing to report. Pretty poor. I've got an eye test coming up at the end of the month. Me diabetic eye test, because I don't know if you know, I'm a diabetic, and so that should be fun. I can't believe a year has gone since the last one. I remember, well, actually, it was earlier in September that I had to go all the way up to Harlow to have my eyes tested. and they put these drops in your eyes, and everything goes all fuzzy. And you're like, oh, it's all fuzzy. I had the missus with me, so it was all right because she drove me there. But this time, it's just over there. I'm just going over there. I can walk it. I'll be there in 5 minutes to have it done. But I won't have the missus with me, so I'm a bit worried about walking out and walking under a car or something because my eyes will be all wobbly. It seems a bit silly for the missus to come with me. I suppose I could sit in there for a bit until my eyes adjust. But yeah, they put these drops in to open up dilate your pupils so they can look at the back of your retinas and see if your corneas are going wonky. So I've got that's at the end of the month though. So it's exciting, isn't it? Exciting being me. Luke says, long time no see. Well, I've been here. I've still been here. Andrew says, Halloween ends out soon. Well, I haven't watched a Halloween film since... I can't remember. Halloween 3. That's it. Season of the Witch, which I quite enjoy. But I've not invested in all those remakes and reissues and rejiggers and all that. Though they have remade Hellraiser. Oh, okay. Oh. They're remaking The Running Man as well. I think it was Edgar Wright. Is it Edgar Wright? Or is it the other one? No, is it Edgar Wright? Let me. I might have just said a terrible falsehood there. Because I caught up on some Edgar Wright movies. I now think I'm an expert in Edgar Wright. Was it Edgar Wright? Yeah, Edgar Wright is attached to a remake of The Running Man, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from the 80s, which was based on a Stephen King short story. That should be interesting. Or not. I don't know. Again, it was a short story. And Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of carries that movie, doesn't he, really? A lot of those 80s movies that he was in, and early 90s, he kind of carries. People forget that. Richard says, health okay? Yeah. You know, what can I say? Yeah, just taking the tablets and being careful what I eat and doing the things, doing the bloods. Mullen's in. Now that's excited, Andrew. Luke says, any movies you're excited to see, like Avatar 2? I've never seen Avatar 1. Just a rip-off of the Smurfs. Let me think. Are there any movies that I'm excited to see? The Whale, with Brendan Fraser, Darren Aronofsky movie, which sounds intriguing. The Weird Al story, that could be fun. I saw Thor: Love and Thunder the other day. Hot beverage approaches.
There you go.
Thank you. Hold it, let me just move those because. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I saw Thor: Love and Thunder, and I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I thought it was tonally all over the place. I thought some of the jokes just didn't work. But I kind of liked the motivation of the villain, and I thought the end bit was quite good. But I'm glad I didn't pay 30 quid to see that at the cinema, because we nearly went. And then I said, well, we could just not bother and wait for it to be on Disney Plus, because the picture will be better than it is at the cinema. And you can have a wee break if you want. I can always pause it and we can all have a wee break. So there you go. Payne says, evening, off to scrub my teeth, back in a bit. Again, healthy teeth, healthy heart. I do believe they did actually, I remember there was a link between oral health and heart disease. I remember reading a report about it once. Luke says, I love the Sparks Brothers documentary. Yeah, that was another Edgar Wright thing. I actually rented that when it came out from, I think it was on early in iTunes US, and I rented it. And I did a review. I did a review here. Not that anyone watched it, but I reviewed it. I review a lot of things that nobody watches. I thought it was interesting. I thought, though, it's for really for the diehards. You could tell that Edgar Wright's a real, diehard fan, and I think it's just a little bit too diehard. Again, even during their fallow period, they, go into great detail, which they could skip over. There's a lot of stuff in that movie they could edit for time and keep the documentary down to a nice slender 90 minutes. No, they'd never do that. 2 hours, maybe, but I think there's even more footage if you buy the Blu-ray or whatever. And I find that a problem. There's a lot of problems with people not being able to edit for time these days. Chris says, I don't. I'm doing well. Yeah, same to you. I hope you're doing well. And Munton says, I finally got to see Ringo. It was a magical night, and yes, he did Octopus's Garden. Well, there you go. He must have known. I was there with you in the audience in spirit. He must have known. I bet that was a thrill. Luke says, Knives Out 2 looks interesting. I haven't seen Knives Out 1 because Rian Johnson is a hack fraud, and I refuse to watch any of his movies after what he did to that movie with the Jedi person in. I'll never watch it. Never. Up the hill, down the mountain, up the mountain, down the mountain. Anyone getting sick of Marvel movies? Asked Luke. I don't know. You're asking a lot of questions, Luke. It's you, isn't it? Yeah. Aye. Munton says he had Steve Lukather, Colin Hay. I come from the land down under. No? Did they do Down Under? Edgar Winter and Hamish Stewart in his all-star band. Greg Lake was a member once, wasn't he? Payne's back. Bjorn says, have you flossed too? That's a very good question. Zeb says, thoughts on the new Lord of the Rings series? Well, I know I'm going to be very unfashionable, but I'm enjoying it. Because a lot of people don't seem to be enjoying it and be very vocal about it, and they seem to have an issue with the ethnicity of fictional creatures. Mind you, they've made the Little Mermaid black. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with Disney remaking their classic movies in live action mode and doing a fucking awful job of it. Like Pinocchio. They put Tom Hanks in it, but not even he could save that one. Where was we going? Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power. I think the problem with a lot of people don't... Well, my problem with it, and I think I spoke about this last week. Did I talk about this last week? It all blurs into one. My issue with it is there's not enough star power. Lenny Henry isn't big enough a star. Love his little half-foot feet. His little hairy half-foot feet. I love me some Sir Lenny of Henry, even though he went a bit crazy about Bernard Manning the other week. Oh dear. But yeah, there's not enough star power in the thing. We need what they've got is they've got a lot of actors who look like other actors. And you go, oh, that one looks a bit like that other one who's a star, but this isn't him or her. And the lead who's playing Galadriel, she was in a great film called Saint Maud. Go and check that out. It's a really interesting psychological horror. Yep, psychological horror movie, and I really liked that. I thought it was really good. And again, I think she's doing a good job. I think they're all doing a good job. I think it looks fantastic, but it's not the story people want, because they want hobbits and Frodo and the Ring and everything. And again, if you're not, if you're a massive Tolkien fan, then I can see why you might be annoyed, because there are other stories that they could cover that has more Tolkien actual content in. But what they've done here is they've adapted, I think, a very small addendum in the Silmarillion. That'd be a good name for a band, wouldn't it? And this has given them a lot of elbow room to create a big story, because this is about the creation of the Rings of Power. It's in the title, the Rings of Power. And the story isn't going to be as clear-cut and as linear, I think, as The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, because it's going to be about Sauron, boo, hiss, manipulating people into creating the Rings of Power, because that's what it's about. That's what he does. And so I don't think the story is as obvious, because The Hobbit's an obvious story, and so is Lord of the Rings. There's a quest involved. This isn't a quest, not yet, anyway. And so this is going to be more like a mystery story, I believe, with elements of the story suddenly, being pushed to the fore, like the building of the big tower with the forging, because that's going to be used to make the Rings of Power. But we don't know that yet. That's not explicitly. A lot of it is there's a lot of implied action, and I'm enjoying it. The episodes are a little bit long, but I'm enjoying it, But I think they'd have been better off getting a few stars in there, They've gone for a relatively unknown cast, and which means that it's like, even the new Game of Thrones has one of my favourites, Rhys Ifans in, and Paddy Considine, and of course Matt Smith. It's got and some newer actors. Is it Hamish McTavish? Isn't it? He was in The Hobbit, wasn't he? He was one of the dwarves in The Hobbit. So even House of the Dragon has got a few, has got star power. People are going to tune in to see these actors, and I think that's really where they've kind of fallen short with that series. But other than that, it's on a Friday. It's good to kick your shoes off, put your feet up, and and watch some things happening. But I think this is more of a mystery, you see. I think that's what it is. But I don't care if elves and goblins are black. It doesn't matter. None of it matters, But what does matter is you needed Idris Elba in there. That's what we need. Playing the lead black elf. You need a famous. You need star power. So that's the thing, isn't it? Anyway, I think I've gone along. I think I've gone on along. I've got a bit of a headache tonight, so bear with me as I'm trying to pull everything in, and the lights aren't helping. I get a little bit light sensitive. I could do this in the dark. What was he talking about? Oh yeah, Lords of Power. Lords of the Rings, of the power and the things. And the rings of the power of the things and the power. What do you think? I'll open it up to the floor. Is anyone watching Amazon's Lord of the Rings, of the power of the rings? With the power? Are you watching it? I know I am. But I'm also watching House of Dragons too, so that's good. Garrett says, my notepad is empty tonight, so I don't know what to ask. Well, just kick off your shoes and relax, put your feet up, and let's go with the flow. Driver says, oh, someone's using my ID on here. Really? That doesn't surprise me. Payne says, flossing isn't a thing in the UK. I use a good brush. My dentist gave me these little brushes. I don't agree with them because I'm more of a tooth picker. So it seems like no, do not use an Allen key as a toothpick. That's a good way of taking a tooth out. But I like a good toothpick. Yeah. But he gave me these little dental brushes, but they've got a plastic handle, so the dolphins are going to choke on them. But they can get right into the. So I got tight teeth at the front here. You wouldn't believe that I actually had a brace. They straightened them out, and then 6 months later they crossed back over again. That was a waste of time. But I've told that story before. Now, if I told you the story of how I broke my brace, very embarrassing. Because I had 2 braces. I had top and bottom done on an HS back in the day, back in the 80s. And my top one, because overnight you take the top ones out. Well, you just take them both out overnight, funny enough. You don't sleep in them. But I was going to the toilet, and I think I must have loosened them or something. Maybe it was loose. It was a long time ago. It's like 35 years ago. And I sneezed, and my brace went down into the toilet and smashed in the toilet bowl and broke. I had to put my hand into the piddly toilet, because I was piddling, I was pissing like a horse, and I had to get my broken brace out. And then I was a bit embarrassed. I washed it off. Obviously, I didn't put it back in my mouth, even though I did wash it off. But I was a bit embarrassed. So I broke my brace. I had to go back and get a new one. And I didn't explain to the orthodontist how I'd broken my brace. I just made it sound like I'd sat on it. I can't remember what I said, but it was just one of those weird, freaky kind of accidents that happens once in a lifetime, that if it was in a movie you'd say, that's unbelievable. But no, it really, honest gov, it really did happen like that. Teeth. What would we do without them? I don't know. Mash up our food. We'd have to be on mashed banana diet. Bjorn says there definitely is a connection between heart disease and teeth, but you really have to neglect your teeth over the years. And I thought I read it somewhere. Garrett says, amazing that Ringo's 82 and he was jumping around on stage like a kid and his voice hasn't changed a single bit. That's because it's not really Ringo. He's an imposter. They replaced all the Beatles with clones. Did you know that? Payne says, the aircraft tracking website Flight Radar 24 was broken today by people tracking the Queen's coffin. I think that was you alone. Would it keep hitting refresh? Wasn't it you? Zeb says, I liked it too, Darren. The Hobbit was awful. This series is gold compared. Again, the problem with The Hobbit, I like bits of it. There was no Tom Bombadil. They could have done a whole film just on Tom Bombadil, couldn't they? Again, the studio got greedy and they said to Jackson, we want 3 films. Because really, The Hobbit, you can read that in an afternoon, can't you? And they extended it over 3 movies, and the extended versions are even longer. Oh my God. And again, my issue with all of the films is the first one, The Fellowship of the Ring, is a fucking masterpiece. It's an absolute great movie. But then from the second, third onwards, because they started relying more and more and more on CGI, obviously, I found there was like a bit of a disconnect. The first one, doesn't rely so much on CGI, different kind of filmmaking. But yeah, with the second and third films, Jackson goes George Lucas crazy. He goes a bit George Lucas. And this is the same with The Hobbit. I mean, some of it. I mean, again, then there's the albino orc character who's just shoehorned in because they need an antagonist. Need a villain. It's a real chore. Yeah. One says the All-Star Band did Down Under. Who can it be now? Who can it be knocking at my door? Go away, don't come round here no more. That's how I remember it. Overkill, Rosanna. Rosanna. It was about Rosanna Arquette. Did you know that? Who had an affair with Peter Gabriel. Everything is connected. Peter Gabriel was in Genesis. Peter Gabriel follows me on Twitter. There you go. Everything is connected. Africa, hold the line, pick up the pieces, cut the cake, Frankenstein. Wow! That's me doing Frankenstein. I'm not going to do it because kids are supposed to be trying to sleep. Free ride, etc. Besides the Ringo and Beatles stuff. Luke says, isn't Guillermo del Toro making a version of Pinocchio? He is. He's put Pinocchio as almost like, isn't he got like a pumpkin face type thing? I think he's gone more back to the original text, because you've got to remember, none of these stories are original from Disney. Disney takes an established... It's very interesting. What they do is they take an established IP, like they've done with The Little Mermaid and Pinocchio, and then they slap their trademark all over it. It's very clever. You know, find a story that's out of copyright, make it your own, slap trademarks all over it. Genius. It's genius. Payne says, Rings of Power is based on the appendices as they don't have rights to the books. That's right. The Amazon spent, I don't know, a gazillion pounds with the Tolkien estate, who I imagine held up a suitcase of stuff and went, here, Gov, you can have this. And in it was like some pages torn out of the, like I said, the appendices of the Silmarillion. And I went, great, and ran off with it. You know, it's the literary equivalent of being sold magic beans. So you can't really blame Amazon for, for what they've done. I think they've been given a hard time. They're not even allowed to use Gandalf, and people like that, because I think the New Line still own the rights to that because of the deal that they've got with the Tolkien estate. It's murky, it's complicated, and so they've kind of got to come up with new characters, or characters that are in the Silmarillion. I mean, they can do Elrond, and that's the weird thing. They can do Elrond and Galadriel, but they can't do Gandalf. I don't know. I don't understand. How can they do Elrond and Galadriel, but they can't do Gandalf? I don't know these things. I think they've taken Amazon for a ride. Plus, Galadriel isn't an ethereal, powerful magic elf now, just a woman in borrowed armour being cross. Well, she is powerful because she's a leader of their armies, but I don't think she's as mystical, is she, as the one, Kate Blanchett's one? Because again, she'd seen things and she kind of settled down. But this Galadriel is the feisty Boadicea version of Galadriel, which is fine. You get to see a different aspect of the character, and I think, again, what's the name who plays? I can't remember the actress's name. Sorry, who plays her does an all right job, but put Kate Blanchett in it. They can't afford her. The age Kate Blanchett. Grant says, I think Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul creators could make a great box office movie in the future. Really? Did you watch El Camino? The Emmys were last night, and Better Call Saul didn't get one. Over the last 6 years, they had 46 nominations, and they've never won an Emmy. I think that tells you something. Good job, Zeb. Yeah, I knew that creep was the creep because it's just obvious when they come in. I just know, but I'm not playing. I'm just doing my own thing because life's too short and I'm old and tired. Martin says, go ahead, make Zeb's day. Indeed. Keep it clean, exactly. I haven't got to those messages yet, so... Payne says, I don't have an Amazon, but I watch Tolkien fans on YouTube tear Rings of Power to pieces with what they know. Yeah, but the worst people to get an opinion of anything are fans. Because fans are fucking idiots. Fan is is derived from the word fanatic. You don't want to be a fan. You don't want to listen to a fanatic. They're going to poo-poo it. If you want an action movie set in a Tolkien-esque type world, that's what it is. It's an extended action movie set in a Tolkien-esque type world. And if you like the imagery and the themes of Tolkien, it's got plenty of that. There was some good action in the last episode of it. I mean, I think, again, fans are the worst. I mean, crikey, thanks to fans, we had the Snyder Cut. Thanks, fans. Ooh. And Warner Brothers have been kicking themselves ever since. Martin says, Darren, did you ever listen to Ringo's solo albums back in the day? Many of them are better than some may think. Even his Christmas album is good fun. No. Inglestein says, the author dentist knew. He probably could see in the solitary bead of sweat running down my brow as I explained to him what happened as I held the two pieces of my broken medical mouthpiece towards him. Honest, sir, that's how it really happened. Payne says, I remember the original The Rings film being mocked by how it should have ended because they could have gone to Mount Doom via those big birds, avoiding all the walking. Yeah, well, again, that's Tolkien's fault, isn't it? That's not fair on the film. That's Tolkien's problem. Yeah. And again, it's more metaphorical than that. See, the ring isn't really a ring. It's about honour and carrying your honour and your burden. It's about doing a job. It's about a journey, and it's about two hobbits in love, and one of them wanted to stick his finger in the ring of his. I think that's what it was about. There was a lot of, oh, Master Frodo, I'll do anything for you, Master Frodo, if I remember correctly. I'm sure there's an alternate cut of that, where it's just Sam and Frodo dry humping on Mount Doom. Oh, God, that was a left turn. Andrew says, my favourite Ringo track is Photograph. Watkins is in, says, evening, Mr. Watkins. Grantman says, also lately after watching a Steve Hackett interview, he said John Lennon liked Genesis. Well, John Lennon can't stick up for himself, can he? Everyone liked Genesis. Sure, why not? Doesn't really hold much bearing these days, does it? So I listened to that Hackett live album that was out because it was on YouTube streaming. That's my review. Martin says, did you ever see the video clip of George Lucas appearing out of nowhere walking behind some guy in the building? Yes, I did. I did see that. It is very, very amusing. Martin says, yeah, I think I remember an interview where John Lennon said he was a fan of Selling England. Payne says, played by Morford Clark. That's Morford. Pronounced Morford. Exactly. That's exactly how I said it. I think she might be from Welsh Wales. Or at least her name might be from Welsh Wales. Is Clark a Welsh name? I don't know. Do they call her Nobby? Isn't that the thing? If you're called Clark, doesn't your nickname have to be Nobby? Nobby Clark? Or did I imagine that? Is that a bit of lore that I've just made up? It feels right to me. If your name's Clark, your nickname should be Nobby Clark. Where did that come from? Where did it come from? Martin says, that reminds me, oddly enough, in one of his last interviews, Lennon said one of the things that inspired him to write songs was Christopher Cross, his big-selling debut album. Well, at least it shows you that Lennon listened to all sorts of music, didn't it? Yeah? And Martin says, have you ever thought about ranking the Genesis albums from worst to best? I think I might know what your number one might be, but not the others. Well, it's Invisible Touch, isn't it? Everybody knows that. Invisible Touch. Yeah, I could do that, but lists are for wankers. Rankers are wankers. I should get that on a t-shirt. Well, there's only like the Gabriel ones I really care about. Oh God, that's a terrible thing to say, isn't it? That's a lie. I do like wading in the other parts of the catalogue, you know. And I've got a lot of time for, the old Invisible Touch period, because it was around when I was, getting into them. It was funny because I got into Gabriel shortly before the release of So. It was by a weird quirk of fate. I don't know how it happened. But I got into Gabriel, and from that led me down to the featured artist, and again the Genesis, and I did everything else about face. But all of that came kind of popular. So and Invisible Touch were both #1 albums within weeks of each other, and they were both on the shelves. And Jean-Michel Jarre had Rendezvous out at roughly the same time too, and it was a good year for music. You had, like I said, Kate Bush's Hands of Love the previous year. It was a really fertile time. And then I think 86 was also A Kind of Magic by Queen. Not as good, but it was an interesting follow-up to the works. And then after that, everything started to go a bit off the boil. The chart music started to go a bit down the toilet around the 88, 89 period. So I got a lot of time for it. So because it takes me back to when I was young. Garrett says, I've done that. Jason says, are you getting the new mix of Revolver? Now this is interesting, because I really like Revolver, and I really like Paperback Writer, which is my favourite Beatles song of all time. I just remember hearing it on the radio and going, that's what I want to be. I want to be a paperback writer. But unfortunately I never made it that far, but I was paid to write, so I was a writer once. So it's on my children's birth certificate as my profession, so I'm pretty pleased with that. So when I'm dead and they look at the children's birth certificates in millions of years' time, they'll think I was a successful writer. So that was a thrill. I'd love to, but it's so fucking expensive, the box set. I can't go near it. I might pick up the vinyl, but I can't even buy the vinyl box set because that's even more expensive. It's just I can't afford these days to buy records because everything is just prohibitively expensive now. And again, if you cast your mind back to, I get it, even 5 years ago. 5 years ago they reissued, I think it was 5 years ago. Yeah, it would have been about 2016. They did the Bowie reissues, and you could pick those up for $14.99. Now, I was in HMV the other week, actually in a real shop, and they're trying to sell them for like 40 quid. And that's just ridiculous. I don't mind it when records are like, under 20 quid. But when they start going over 20, unless it's, I don't know, it's a special edition or it's, colour vinyl or limited or something, I might consider it. But I just can't afford to have this hobby anymore. And it's, the last things I bought have been CDs. He says, and I'll show you if I can find them. Where did I put them? I put them somewhere. Is that it? Is that a CD? No, that's not it. Maybe it's over there. That's weird. I had a CD. What did I do with it? No, that ain't it. Yeah, mind you, I bought some records as well. But what did I do with it? Maybe it's on the pile. Maybe I've started a new pile. Oh no, I actually put it on the shelf. Hello, Mimo. You alright? Am I disturbing you? Am I keeping you awake? I'm sorry. Oh. But yeah, the last things I bought are these, because I got that. So I got that one for under a tenner, and I got that for. This was a bargain. I got this for £3 with delivery from Amazon, because for some reason they gave me £10 off as a special promo thing, and I'm like, I'll have that. So that together was under £15. I can afford that, and so I'm having a real trouble. I mean, like this week, there's you got the Floyd have got the Animals reissue out, and also Supergrass have got their self-titled album out, which I wouldn't mind getting, but that's spicy because I do like my Supergrass, and I'm like, oh god, everything's so expensive, everything. But you don't hear me going on about the expense. You want me to be one of those rich YouTubers who can afford to do everything, but I don't have to pull. I don't have the, not anymore. I don't have the cachet or the YouTube bucks to indulge myself like I used to. So this is why I talk about the news, because you're not going to be interested in me talking about Robbie Basho CDs, are you? You're not going to be interested in me talking about what other ones I've bought. What's that one over there? I know. Nobody cares, Darren. Nobody cares. Where are we? But I am interested in that box set, so I'll probably listen to it on the streaming, because I think you can listen to the Beatles on the streaming, which is nice. Page says $4.99. Dan says, how you keeping lately? What's your favourite track off Moving Pictures? I don't know what's Moving Pictures? Is that a Rush album? Oh, the shortest track off the Rush album. Let me have a look. I must admit, I do not give a fuck about Rush. Nobody does. Nobody cares about Rush. Let's have a look. What's he got on there? Tom Sawyer. We'll go for Tom Sawyer because it's the first one. Yeah. Though, didn't I enjoy Witch Hunt? I think I enjoyed Witch Hunt, which is the third part of Fear. If I can think back to my actual review of it, God, what amazing recall I've got. But I remember doing a joke about was it? I remember doing a joke about YYZ and calling it YKK, because I don't know if you know, but zips were made by a company called YKK, and so I did this big skit about YKK being a tribute to zip manufacturers, and I don't think anyone got it. I think I was just being too fucking clever. Maybe it just wasn't funny. I thought it was funny. It amused me. But anyway, thank you for your donation of €499 credits. That's almost the same as £1 these days, isn't it? Such is the weak pound and the strong dollar and Genesis to Revelation is right at the bottom. We Can't Dance isn't at the bottom, but Duke might be. Oh my god! Andrew says Trick of the Tail is the best for me. Well, that's to the bottom as well. Which ones do I find the most painful to sit through? Well, Genesis to Revelation, Duke, Trick of the Tail, because it's got a lot of crap on it, and some of it is just embarrassingly bad. Robbery, assault and battery. Oh god, just fucking awful. I'm not really a Genesis fan. What else is the ones? let's just do Genesis, because I can talk about Genesis for ages. Genesis Discog. Right, you already know all this. Genesis to Revelation is rubbish apart from music. All I hear is music. That one. That's the only good one off it. You know, the rest of it's shit. Trespass is it's great. I love that one. Nursery Crime. Brilliant. Foxtrot. Love that one too. Set in England. It's all right. The Lamb. I love that one. That was my first Genesis album. Trick of the Town. Window Mothering. Better. A lot better than Trick of the Town. And then there were three. Again, it's probably one of the most progressive of their albums, actually, because it's trying to pull in so many different directions. You know, they suddenly they go, right, let's write short songs, and you see them, you know, trying to do different kinds of short songs. And it's one of those ones that you kind of put at the back of your mind. But when you listen to it, you go, oh yeah, this one's all right. This one's all right. Duke, I absolutely cannot stand Duke. Abacav, I think, is really good fun. Genesis, or Shapes, or whatever you want to call it, is... First side's interesting. I like Illegal Alien. Don't like Taking It All Too Hard. Just a Job to Do is Silver Rainbow. And it's going to get better. So, yeah, I like the first side, and the second side is just dog shit. Invisible Touch is just fucking work of genius. We Can't Dance, there's a good album in there, but they are trapped by the CD format. And Calling All Stations, again, you know, it's it's not that it's bad. I mean, there's some good bits in there. I mean, Congo's good, Shipwrecked is good, Not About Us. The singles are good, right? Dividing Line is really good. And there are bits of songs which are good, but they needed a better arranger. They needed Phil Collins there to arrange the songs. And I think if they'd have included old Ray Wilson at the beginning, you know, maybe you could have helped them with the arrangements and, you know, guided the music somewhat, because you do get the feeling he is trying to sing a telephone book over some of these more unwieldy songs. So it's brave. I think it's a brave record because they're trying to reinvent themselves as dark, moody, you know, look at us, contemporary, and it just didn't work. So that's it. That's Genesis albums. Thank you. Thanks for playing. Munton says, Trespass is still my favourite because Anthony Phillips. I almost consider Geese and the Ghost a Genesis album, but it ain't, so don't. Would you say Payback Right is one of your favourite Desert Island tracks? I guess, well, if you're talking about songs, again, Desert Island Discs, is that albums or is it just single songs? Because I've never really done single songs. Because it'll be Paperback Writer if we were doing the Beatles. You know, The Who, Substitute, you know, Peter Gabriel, Digging in the Dirt. You know. What was that? Was that a grumble? I can let you go if you want. Do you want to go? Hannah? Don't stare off into space like that. Look, do you want to go upstairs? Hey, do you want upstairs? You want to go up? Or you want to stay? Come have a fuss. That's it. Off you go. Obviously the live stream's making you unhappy. Off you go. She doesn't like me talking to camera because it keeps her awake. I have a very fussy dog. So, yes, dog cam. Hannah has left the room. The bed is empty. I nearly pressed the wrong button then. I nearly shut the application. Oh boy. Bjorn says, getting the 2 CD or single vinyl Revolver, can't touch the deluxe either. Again, yeah, again, I don't really want the CD, you know. I just, again, it's a shame. Because I'd like the Let It Be one, because the vinyl, I'd have liked to that, because that looked really interesting, but I just can't, not anymore. And they don't seem to drop in price anymore. In the old days, you might be able to get it on Amazon, or I'd have a voucher, you know. And again, I don't get the vouchers like I used to. So that's the nature of losing influence. Only the weirdos watch me now. So yeah, it's kind of limits what I can do. But think of the dolphins. You don't want them choking on the extra disc from the Revolver box set, do you? You don't want that to happen. I'm sure, isn't there a bonus 7-inch disc or something which you can choke on? Grant says, I'm listening to the latest Pearl Jam CD. Gone is the mushy grunge fuzz-tone guitars and the cleaner, when I say brighter guitars sound like the Buzzcocks. It's really nice. Oh, okay. Well, I haven't checked out Pearl Jam for a long time. They did Your Majesty or Her Majesty when it was announced the Queen had died at one of their gigs. Impromptu it was, which was nice. Munton says the single of Paperback Writer and Rain is probably their best. Rain is my favourite Beatles track. Yeah, that's a good one as well. And the 2 videos or films that they did, again on the Beatles one thing with the Blu-rays, stunning quality. I mean, it looks like it was done yesterday because they filmed it, and so absolute top quality stuff. Absolutely. Bjorn says we can work it out is the best Beatles track. Everyone knows that. Exactly. That's a good one too. You know, we can work it out. We can work it out. So I switched to CD when I saw Roger Waters' Amused to Death repress LP for €80. Oh my goodness. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely bonkers. Oh, Robbie Basho's a keeper. Well, again, they're not. Don't cost me too much. And there's a couple of his CDs I need to pick up because you can't get them on vinyl unless you want the originals, and I can't. They're too spicy. But he has got one coming out. Well, he hasn't because he's dead. But oh god, they've moved everything again. They updated Safari and they've moved everything again. Can I find it? Oh, I'm trying to find it in my bloody... Why don't you search for it? Why don't you search for it, Darren? Use it... There you go. Bouquet is coming out. It's a reissue. And it's, like I said, 40 years since its original release. Basho's 13th album, Bouquet, is going to be available for the first time on vinyl. It was on... I guess it was on cassette before. And unfortunately, the release date has been put back to the 21st of October. I think the CD's out, or is going to be out. But yeah, they found the masters during the production of Voice of the Eagle, the Enigma of Robbie Basho documentary, which I did review, which I thought was fantastic. But yeah, it's going to have expanded text by Glenn Jones. Again, another great guitarist I've looked at, though that review is lost, unfortunately. But yeah, when's the CD? Might already be out. Yeah, you can get the CD already, but the LP's been put back to the 21st, which I'll be getting. Oh, where are we? Bjorn, where am I? Bjorn says you can indulge when you sell the guitars. No, I'll be paying off my debts, and I'm not wasting money on stupid box sets unless I can buy them cheap. You know, or I'll be buying other guitars, surely. Well, yeah. Again, I don't know what I don't know what's happening with that. So it's all gone quiet. So I'm just waiting for the call, and then I'm going to have to arrange to take delivery of those instruments, and it's kind of stressing me out because I don't know what I'm going to do. What do you do? It's that thing. That puzzle with the boat and the fox and the chicken and the grain. Is that right? Yeah, fox, chicken, and the grain on the boat getting across the river, and you can only put 2 in at a time. And yeah, it's that, because I really don't know how much it's going to cost for storage, and I don't really want to look into that until close to the time, because I've got a funny feeling that storage prices are going to go up because of the old electricity bill business. Because although Truss has announced a price cap for domestic users, I don't think there's been any cap for commercial users. But anyway, that's off the point. That's off the topic. So once I know when they're arriving, and then that could be next year, because these things take time. Again, the lady told me her schedule, but if her schedule holds true, then it's not going to be... Well, I don't think it'll be till next year, because what she expects and what the solicitor is going to do are 2 different things. And I know solicitors, and I know they had lots of weeks on them. It could all go through quickly, but my experience is next year. But we'll wait and see. But then, as I was saying, I've looked into storage prices, and then it's like, well, I ain't got the money for storage. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, and there hasn't been a day where I hasn't thought about it since I got the news. It's like, it goes from excitement to dread to trying to figure out the puzzle, to dread to excitement to the pure logistical nature of everything. And it's like, okay, we'll figure something out. I'll wing it. I always wing it and figure something out. But no, I mean, I've got plans for the money. Money's getting us out of debt, and but that won't be immediate, because I'm going to try and document the guitars, and the guitar market, second-hand guitar market in the UK is very depressed because of everything. Well, I think most of these are depressed, and again, the guitars I plan to keep are the more expensive, interesting ones, and the ones I plan to junk are the cheaper, more commonplace ones. So it's going to be it's going to be a drag. Yeah, it's going to be a drag, but we'll figure it out. But I won't be indulging. Payne says, my older brother used to play Rush a lot when he was a teen. Payne says, YYZ is the airport code for Toronto, Canada, which is the origin of Rush album song thing. I know that, but the joke's about YKK, which makes zips. Come on, work with me. I'm not stupid. Did you track him? Did you track Rush using that airport tracker thing that you use? Ripples? No, you can't see me ripples through my t-shirt. Payne says, I've switched off by the time you've read this. Good night. Oh, all right. Have to be like that about it. Jesus. Miss said, I always presumed that Doggy was in the other room. No, she's usually here, and that's why you can hear her snoring. You wouldn't hear her snoring if she was in the other room. But a lot of Tuesdays she's not here because she knows I'm doing a live stream. But I think because we didn't go for a long walk, we just went to the lamppost and back because it was raining. She got settled, and then she looked around and went, oh, wait a minute, he's doing a live stream. Oh no, the door's shut. What am I going to do? And she kept giving me dirty looks. It's like, you keep me awake. But she's upstairs now. She's in her second bed. She's got 2 beds. One bed. Alex only had 1 bed. She's got 2 beds, and she's got a real deluxe one upstairs. Really padded and deluxe. She sleeps better than I do. I spoil that dog. Treats his place like a hotel. Richard Proner says, "Hey Darren, how's things?" That's the second time you've asked. Oh dear. Now what we're going to talk about. We've reached the end. Do 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 do. Anyone got anything else to talk about, or should we just stop now? We'll stop now if you want. If you want. Do 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 do. Wah wah wah. Wah 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 wah. Do 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 do. Wah wah wah. Do 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 do. Oh dear. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Andrew says, Ramsey Lewis, the jazz pianist, has died. Okay. Is that a good thing? Was he evil? Was he one of those evil jazz pianists? Or was he one of the good ones? I am not familiar with his work. Let's look up Ramsey Lewis. Ramsey Lewis. Oh, blimey. He was old, wasn't he? He was 87. Oh, my God. He did the In Crowd. Is it the song that Brian Ferry covered? I'm in with the in crowd. I go where the in crowd goes. I'm in with the in crowd. I know what the in crowd knows. Roxy are playing at the moment, aren't they? They're touring America for their 50th anniversary. 50th. He died in his sleep. Ah, that's nice. Rather than, I don't know, driving a bus. Anyway, Richard lost his bits. He certainly did. He certainly did, didn't he? It's a bit odd, isn't it? We have a bit of a weird contingent, but hey, you know, what can you do? When they spam the chat, I've got to block them. Normally I just ignore them, you know, but got to block them if they start spamming, haven't they? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay then. Well, I think everyone's gone to bed, so I am going out. I'm leaving. There is no point in staying around. If everyone's sodded off, we'll call it quits. No? Okay then. Anyway, thanks for popping by. Been a bit of a quiet one this week. I think it's because of the Queen's death. Yeah, we'll do this all again. Well, will we? I don't know. Will we? Nighty night. And yeah, remember, if you can't be good, be safe, but more importantly, don't tell your mother.